All right, first thing I need you to do from OnShape is over on the left-hand side, go into the Owned by Me folder over here and click on that. And we're going to create a folder to put all of your work into and share that folder with me, Mr. Oman. So hit the blue Create button, click on Folder, and please title this your own last name, not my last name. Last name, first name, and problems 1 through 19. Okay, so when you share these with me, they'll be alphabetized by last name in my folder on my end. And hit Create. Okay, and you should see the folder happen right here. Okay, when you start doing the assignments, please be inside of this folder. So I'm going to open that up so you can see we're currently in that folder. So anything you do now, if you share it with me, should work. If you haven't figured out how to share it yet, if you right click on the folder that you made and choose share, that's a left click, and share it with J-O-M-A-N, J-O-M-A-N, at shockbschools.org. Okay, and hit the blue share button. Again, it's J-O-M-A-N at shockbschools.org. Right there. Okay, so back inside the folder now. Let's create our first part here. Problem number 1. So hit Create again in the upper left corner, and left click on Document. And you can just call this your last name and 1. So for you, put your last name and 1 for problem 1. Right there. And hit Create. And you can see here it is, Omen 1. This is the problem I'm working on. It's inside of my Omen Problems 1 through 19 folder, right there. All right, so our first problem comes from this document right here. You might have to rotate it after you've downloaded it so you can see it upright. So use the Rotate button, scroll down to the second page, which is where problem number 1 will begin. Okay, we're going to draw this stair step right here. Okay. To me, it looks like the front view here is the easiest one to draw, and then we'll extrude 2 inches long, or 2 inches deep. Okay, so let's draw this shape right here. 3 long, 0.75 up, 1 inch over, 0.25, 2 across, and 1 back down. So I got all this information from here. Some of it I figured out from over here. This distance that's not labeled is 1 inch minus the stair step, which is 0.25. That's how I got 0.75. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to draw this in the front view because that is the front view that we're taking it from. So hit Sketch. Up here in the upper left corner, we have to pick the plane that we want to draw on. That's front. All right, I don't really want to look at the right view or the top view, so I'm going to come over here and uncheck the eyeball of top and right. Okay, a little easier to look at. And you can either press this button right here, front, or if you right click and go to view normal to sketch plane, it will turn it so we're looking straight on. Either of those will work. All right, I'm going to grab the line tool. Click on the center point. Make sure all of your drawings start there. Go directly to the right. I'm going to type. I'm not going to type. I'm just going to guess. I'm not worried about perfect numbers right now. We're just roughly sketching the stair step. And again, this is not correct yet. Okay, make sure you close it. All right, now we'll fix those numbers using the dimension tool right up here on the right end of all your buttons. Dimension. Okay. Click on that bottom line, click down below, I'm typing the number 3 and hitting the enter button on my keyboard. Over here on the right side, same thing, 0.75, enter. This one is 1, set it up above, 1, enter. Zoom in a little bit if you can't see it. That is 0.25. This one is 2, but I don't know that we actually need to do it. Yep, it's already there. I took 3 minus 1 and figured that out on its own. And same with this one, it should just know it's 1 already. So those are actually not necessary to do right there. All right, and once you've hit the green check mark and you finish that sketch, you can find extrude right next to the sketch button. Select, select this region. And it doesn't matter which way you extrude it, forward or back right now. Let's pick one, and the depth is not 1, like it says here, it's 2, so change that to be 2, enter, and the green check mark to finish. Okay, so problem number 1 is finished. And on to problem number 2. All right, looks like we have a base here with a little piece sticking out the top. So I'm gonna draw this lower part according to the measurements here in the top view, and then later on I'll add this on. So I'll treat this as 2 separate problems for number 2. All right, it's 3 inches long by 2 inches wide and 1 inch tall. So these measurements should be pretty simple. All right, so let's head back to our folder. And create a new document. Last name and 2. All right, so this time I'm going to use the top view. So let me turn off my front and right tabs. Okay, click on the top of the cube, looking down on it. Let's start a new sketch over here. Start that sketch with the line tool right there. I could have grabbed the rectangle, that would work. In fact, let's do that instead. Rectangle, start at the center, take your guess, and now let's fix it. This is 3, going up and down on your screen, and 2, enter, green check mark. Okay, and let's extrude it. Pick this area to extrude. I'm going to tilt it so I can see it here in the view cube. And 1 already is selected for me if it's not, type in 1 for depth for you. And the green check mark. Okay, start another sketch. This is the second part of the same problem. And we're going to sketch right on the top surface of the block. And grab the rectangle tool. Just take a guess. Alright, in our actual measurements, if you go back to the document here, the measurements have 0.75 all the way around here. 0.5 wide, 1.5 long. Alright, so there's a couple ways you could do this. I'm going to click on the left edge of the block, left edge of the rectangle, and type 0.75, enter. Okay, I got a little big here. That's right. I'm going to zoom in down here on the bottom edge, click and click, and we're going to put 0.75 for that. Notice it pushes and moves things around. Alright, so we got 0.75 from the left edge, 0.75 from the bottom edge. Now we got to get the rectangle to be the correct measurement. And again, that comes from right here, 0.5 wide, 1.5 long. So let's click on that. And this is 0.5 right here. And this edge is 1.5. So it looks a little messy up there because we have dimension lines and object lines all over the place, but this should be centered right in the middle. The space around the edge all the way around should be the same if we follow those measurements. Hit the green check mark, and like before, you hit extrude again, select the area you want to extrude, left click, and this thing happens to be 0.5 half inch tall. Right here, so we're going to change 1 to read 0.5. And hit the check mark. Okay, so problem number 2 is done. I'm going to turn off my top view and leave that right there. Okay, let's move on to problem number 3. All right, we got another stair step with a cutaway underneath, so a little bit more to do. We'll draw this one in the front view, and then it looks like we'll extrude it 1.5. So go get a new document going. So I hit the OnShape icon up here, hit create, document. This is for me, Omen 3. Okay, I need to keep my front view. So we'll turn off the top and the right, clicking on the eyeball over here. Okay, so just the front. We're going to sketch on that front view. Click again and turn it so you can see it. All right, so we just have to pick a place to start here. We could start in the upper left corner, lower right, any of these would work, and just work our way around following all these measurements. I'm personally going to start in the lower right and go counterclockwise up and around to the left. So 0.5 up, 1.5 over, 0.5 up, 2 over, and on down. Okay. So like before, we're just going to start by guessing and just sketch it approximately in the right shape. And just make sure these are all straight up and down or left to right, they're level. And if you go hover by the original point, you can get a dash line to come out. That'll save you some work there, and close it off. Just like that. Now we dimension. Far right is 0.5. Enter. This one is 1.5. Enter. The next one up here is 2. Okay, we don't know this one yet. It doesn't tell us right here. We could do the math and figure it out. It's 1.5 plus 0.5 over here, so this whole thing is 1 inch tall. And if we subtract 0.38, which is 3/8 of an inch, that leaves you 5/8, which is 0.625. That might be hard enough math for us. So you could come at it from the other way and label these bottom ones and leave this one left over. That's possible too. I'll do that. 2.63. 0.38, 0.88. So this one is 2.63. That's 2 5/8. This one here is at 0.38. And that one is 0.88. Might already be there, and it doesn't like it. That's even though I did it correctly, it's considered over dimensioned. So we actually need to hit undo on that last one. It does not let you put too many measurements out here. I'm pretty sure it'll give us that same message if we do this last one. It should already be, well, maybe not. 0.625 is what I figured out. 0.63. No, I was wrong. It does work. Or is it because I didn't measure this one? Let's see. 0.5. Yeah, it doesn't like that last one. So hit undo if you get to that point. Okay, that looks like it's right to me. Yep. The green check mark to finish. Filter view up here. Extrude. Click the middle of the shape, and 1.5 right here is our extrusion. Okay, so number 3 looks good to me. On to number 4. All right, we got kind of an L shape with a cutout here. I think I'm going to draw this kind of dark side here of the L. I'm going to extrude it in, and then I'll come back and remove this cutout last. It comes from right here. So it looks like I'm going to be drawing the front view right there. So head back to your OnShape documents, create document 4. All right, and let's turn off our top and right views. Hitting the front view. All right, I think I'll go, if I go across the bottom here, it doesn't tell me what the measurement here, but if you line up the top view, 3.25 is how long this is. These line up, so you can assume that this is good down here. 2.25 goes up, across, I see that right here, coming down 1.5, and around here. So you have to kind of look around between the two views and put it all together to make it happen. All right, let's grab our sketch, pick the front view. From the center or origin, let's go up, over, down, over. Okay, make sure you've got that perfectly straight before you begin anything else. Dimension. .25 is this line, cross 0.75, and down 1.5, enter. And this line right across here all the way to this corner, that's 3.25 minus 0.75, so $3.25 minus 75 cents is $2.50. That's where I got that, so 2.5. Sorry to use the money analogy there. 2.5. And I believe this next one's 0.75, yep, and then we'll just finish the rest. And it's already there. And this one is already correct. Okay. So I believe we're ready to extrude that. So finish your sketch, hit the extrude button, and tilt your view to the corner. Okay, our distance is 2. That's how thick our extrusion is. 2, enter. All right, and now we've got to create the cutout here at the end. So let's sketch it right up here, and the reason I'm picking that is I can see it right here in the top view. So 0.75 by 1.25. So I'm drawing on here now. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. You could use the line tool, that would work as well. Pick the bottom right corner. Dimension. .75. Okay, and now when we extrude this shape, instead of adding material, we are going to switch to remove over here in this menu. And it cuts through. There's more settings, but right now we don't need to do anything else. We'll get into that stuff later. Okay, so all you gotta do is select remove, and hit the check mark. Okay, and there's number 4. Go ahead and turn off your front plane. All right, next up, number 5. Here's number 5. All right, here's problem 5. Okay, it's starting to get a little trickier here. You have to make some decisions on how you want to draw this thing. I generally will start with my front view, this information, which is the darkest shade. Draw that cutout, and we'll come back to this cutout later, and all this towards the end. Okay, we're going to treat this as 3 problems. Okay, so I see a rectangle that's 5 by 1.5, and then a little cutout rectangle, 0.25 by 1.75. Okay, follow me on this. Okay, back to OnShape, hit create, document, and then 5. Okay, let's start with your front view, so get rid of right and top. Start your sketch on the front plane. Grab the rectangle tool, start at the origin, and draw a rectangle that's vertical. And somewhere over here on the right side, just draw another rectangle that attaches to the edge about here. Something like that. Okay, here comes dimension. I believe that was 5. Yep, 5 by 1.5. All right, and the little cutout, 0.25 by 1.75. So right here, 0.25 and 1.75 is the height. Okay, now we still don't have this in the right location. We still have to tell how far from this corner. We have the rectangle drawn at the correct size, but not located yet. That's also important. And it needs to know it's 0.63 from the corner. That's what that does for you. So I'm going to click on the very bottom line and this bottom edge. So that's 2 clicks right there to measure between these 2 points. I did not click on this outer line here. I don't care if you put it on the inside or the outside here. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to set it down there. 0.63 is what the direction said. There we go. So we've got this thing fully dimensioned. Hit the green check mark, tilt it, and extrude. We're going to extrude only the big part, not the cutout. And that happens to be how wide? That's 1.13. So that's an inch and 1/8. 1.13, excuse me, right there, and the check mark. Excuse me. All right, so we've got the main block. Now we're going to do the cutout up here at the top. Okay, these little fingers, they're 0.38, and the gap is 0.38, and it's 1.5 tall. Okay, so let's draw another rectangle. On the sketch number 2 is going to be on this face. Right there. Hit your right side view. Grab the rectangle, take a guess, put it up here on the top edge. Again, don't worry about being perfect at this point. Now I want to use the dimension tool. I'm going to measure between the left edge and this rectangle. And this is the same measurement 3 times in a row, 0.38. The rectangle is 0.38 wide. 0.38. And this last one should be correct without actually measuring it. But let's make sure at 0.38. Okay, undo. And then our height of our rectangle, 1.5. Okay, hit the check mark. That sketch number 2 is done. Tilt it and extrude it. And we're going to remove this. Okay, and notice it when you select remove here, it doesn't go all the way through. All right, so we have to find that setting. Let's see, that happens right here in this menu where it says blind. Select that and choose through all, so it goes all the way through the whole block. There we go. And the green check mark to finish it. Okay, so we're 2/3 done. We got the main block, we got the upper cutout. Now we got to cut a rectangle out of this face down here, and that's going to be a through all as well. So start another sketch. This will be sketch 3 in your history over here. Pick that face, turn it, rectangle, sketch it, hit the dimension tool, and we do need to get these measurements right. So it's 0.25 from the left and right sides, and 0.38 from the top and bottom, also 0.63 right here. There's plenty of information to get this done. Okay, follow me on this. Let's do 0.25 from the left edge. 0.25. Okay, this bottom line is 0.63. And on the top and bottom edge, it's 0.38. So from that line to here, 0.38. And same with the bottom, 0.38. Okay, that looks correct. Hit the green check mark. Tilt it. And now we extrude and remove. Pick that region. And make sure it's through all. There we go. And hit the check mark. And just confirm that we got everything right. Went through. Yep, looks like it is. Tilt it back, turn off your front view, and there's your problem number 5. Okay, problem number 6. All right, this is a fun one. This looks like a spool for some thread. Okay, we're not going to draw these circles exactly. We're going to do something called revolve. Okay, so we're going to draw half of this shape and we're going to spin it around to create the round shape. So we're going to be using this view, the right side view. Okay, and drawing this shape. And later we'll cut out a hole through the center at the end. So I see, it looks like 2 sketches coming here. All right, problem 6. Hit OnShape, create, document. Okay, we're going to keep the right view this time. Turn off front and top. Your sketch happens on the right view. Turn to that side. Grab the line tool. And we are going to draw from the very center, even though I know there's a hole there. We're going to draw from the center up 3.25 over, down, over, looking at all of this information right here. Okay. So start at your origin, go straight up, straight to the right, down. So this is known as a half section. We're drawing half of it, and we're going to spin it around this last line here. Close that. Dimension it. 3.25. Okay, it's 0.5 over and 0.5 down. Okay, and it's 1.5 across right here. this one's already done from this measurement. And looks like this one needs a 0.5 here as well. Alright, that should be it right there. This 3.25 takes care of this one. This one is taken care of by all of these measurements added up. Okay, hit the green check mark. Okay, instead of extruding this time, we're going to pick revolve. Okay, and we have to pay attention to what it's saying. It says select our faces to revolve. We're going to select this face right here, this region. Click in the middle of it. And then our revolve axis, click on that red box right there to pick revolve axis. The axis is kind of like the center of the wheel on a car or something like that. We're going to spin the whole shape around that line as soon as you click it right there. And if you tilt it, you can see what just happened. So revolve is kind of a fun tool to make some strange shapes with. All right, and lastly, we got to cut a hole right through the middle. And then we're done. Hit sketch. Pick the big round face here. So we're drawing there. We'll use the circle this time. And be sure to pick the center. There it is. Pull out a circle. And let's dimension that. Diameter 1.13. Diameter is that symbol right there. Alright, so dimension, click on the circle with your dimension tool, and 1.13. It should default right to a dimension measurement. And hit your check mark. And this is an extrude remove situation. And through all. Okay. And just rotate it, make sure it went all the way through. If it did, you are done with number 6. Okay, you can turn off your right view. Okay, on to 7. Number 7, okay, we've got a base and an upper part, so it looks like 2 sketches coming here. There's some details here you haven't seen yet. So we're taking the challenge up a little bit for this one. All right, let's do the base first, and then we'll do the upper part. So I'll do the base here in the top view. Looks like it's 3 wide and 1.5 deep. Okay, go start a new part. OnShape, create, document. Last time 7. Okay, keep your top view on for now. Sketch on that top plane. Use your rectangle tool and start at the origin. And use dimension. Again, that's 3 long, left to right, and deep is 1.5. So this would be 3. Enter. 1.5. Check mark. This is 0.38 tall. Okay, that looks good. Aware that here we could round these corners over either now or later. We might as well get it done now. So this is a round over 0.125 fillet. Okay, so if you go back and look for the fillet button right up here, click on that for me. And the radius, what did we say that was? 0.125. So change that to say 0.125 over here. And that's right here under the radius setting. And if you click on these edges, it should round it over at that exact radius. So click all 4 of those top edges. and hit the green check mark. All right, now for the upper parts. Okay, notice this thing sits in here. Let's see, it's 0.25 setback. All right, so it looks like we'll need to create a work plane to help us here. So we can't just pick this surface and draw up here up above. All right, so what we're going to do here, we are going to, before we hit sketch, we need to create a plane that's not out here. We want it to be 0.25 set into the block. So if you go way over to the right end and look for, where'd it go? Yes, this button right here called Offset Surface. Click on the pull down menu and choose Offset Surface. Go ahead and select that face, that front face of the block. And notice right now it wants to offset to the outside. We want to go 0.25 to the inside. For me, 0.25 is already selected. Okay, so we need to switch directions right there at that arrow. And it's set in, you can see it. If you look hard, it's right there inside the object. Hit OK. Now when we sketch, all right, so change of plans here. I'm not going to do the offset surface. Let's just draw from the top view. So notice there's more than one way to draw a lot of these things. I was struggling to get that offset surface to cooperate. So let's draw this rectangle, and then we'll come back and cut out that triangular type shape. So I see this thing is 0.25 in from the edges. It's 2 inches long. Yeah, we can do that. So grab your rectangle tool after you've selected the top surface to sketch on. So we'll just wing that in there. Dimension. Dimension from the very outside edge. 0.25. And same with the right side. Oops, I'm sorry. I typed in the number. That should have been 0.5. So if you would double click on those and change that to 0.5 instead of 0.25. 0.5. That was a mistake on my part. Okay, and vertically, these are 0.25. Okay, so there's that rectangle. We're going to extrude this up 1.25. Select your region. 1.25 is the depth over in these settings. Right over here. All right, and our last step is to sketch and cut out of this face. All right, grab your line tool, start in the upper left corner, and take a guess. It's going down to about 45 degrees. We'll correct this with dimension as always. There's a flat spot on the bottom, and right there. Okay, hit your dimension tool. All right, so we've got to get some measurements right here for this to cooperate. 45 is our angle. So we're going to do 2 clicks here, this left edge and the line you drew. and click that down and say 45, enter. Do the same thing over here on the right side. 45, enter. Okay, we'll see if this last one needs measuring. It looks like it does. That is 0.3. There we go. So that's done. The check mark and extrude, remove that region. And I think it's all the way through, but just to make sure, select through all. Yep. Oh, it wasn't all the way through, so it was needed. And there you go. Problem number 7 is done. Number 8. All right, problem number 8 should seem a little simpler than the last one we just did. Problem 7. Okay, we're going to draw a rectangle. We're going to do a half circle and some offsetting here. So 3 by 2 is our first rectangle. Let's go start a new part. Create document. This is number 8. Okay, we're going to use the front view. Turn off the top and right. And let's sketch on the front. Grab the rectangle tool, start at the origin, and dimension. The bottom line is 3. The side line is 2. Okay, so we drew this lower part, and we can offset this inner rectangle, or we can draw the rectangle, but let's do offset so you get that experience. And we'll come back and add the arc. So offset is this button right here. It looks like a double line right there. Offset. Select the rectangle. Actually select all 4 edges of the rectangle. Okay, and that measurement is 0.5. So click right on the measurement number and hit 0.5. So that's taken care of. Okay, we're still in sketch 1. Nothing's changed there. Okay, now we're going to draw an arc. Let's do a 3-point arc. Right here, look for this tool. Okay, the first of the 3 points is the center of this top edge of the rectangle. Second one is here. Oop, hang on. Hit escape. That's wrong. Not a 3-point arc. Let's do a center point arc. I was stand corrected. You click the center of the top surface, in the left corner, and the right corner. You can swing it over. Okay, and once again, we'll offset. Let's do the arc. Change that to be 0.5. And I believe that's it right there. That line in the middle is already correct. Okay, hit your check mark. And let's extrude this thing. Extrude this upper arc and the lower rectangle, leaving the 2 holes behind. And our extrusion distance looks like over here is 0.75. Okay, I'm going to turn off my front view. And there's my finished part. Okay, let's go on to 9. All right, I think on number 9, I'm going to draw the right side, extrude that in, and then cut out the half circle right there. So I'm going to use the right view, which is new to us. Back to OnShape, create, document. last name, 9. Okay, turn off your top and front views. Sketch on the right side. Okay, grab the line tool. Let's start in the lower left corner, go 1.25 over. Going up right here is 1.75. Not sure about this yet. Looks like 1.5 minus 0.25, so that's 1 inch right there. Down, over, down. Start at the origin, pull it out to the right, up, and close it off. .25, 1.75. This is 1. I don't believe we need to measure this one. We can just do this lower part, which I see is 0.5. Those are the same thing. Okay, finish your sketch and extrude it. Let's see, 2.5 is how deep this thing is. Oops, let's try that again. Extrude 2.5. Alright, should look about like that or so. Okay, now for the half circle cutout. Sketch on the upper part again. You either draw a circle or a half circle, like an arc, doesn't matter. Pick the top center, which should pop up right there. And that circle, it has a radius of 0.75, which is when you draw a circle is measured in diameter, so you have to double this. So 0.75 is 1.5. So we're close here. Let's get it correct though. So 1.5. Finish your sketch and extrude that out and remove it through all. Okay, it looks like number 9 is done now. Okay, turn off your right view, and there you go. Number 10 is next. Alright, looks like one sketch coming. We can just draw this front side, this dark side, and extrude that through. A few measurements we got to figure out here. Alright, like always, I'm going to start with this lower rectangle and work my way up into the round part. So we'll go from the bottom to the top as we draw this. Okay, go start number 10. Turn off your top view, turn off your right view. Okay, in the front view, let's draw just a little low, skinny rectangle. Grab the line tool, pull up a couple of lines here. Coming off of the top edge of that rectangle, make sure these come up the same distance as each other. And grab the arc tool. Let's see, let's do a 3-point arc. I believe that's right. 3-point arc starts at one end, goes to the other end, and it should just kind of snap in place when it's correct right up here. So that was 3 clicks. All right, and now we get to dimension it. So 3 by 0.5 is the lower rectangle. This is 0.75 in, 0.5 up. That goes from the far left line to this line. Yeah. That is 0.75, I believe. Yep. And from the right edge, okay. This is 0.50. And it looks like the arc is already 0.75. Let's see. The last thing we need to get a diameter, 0.75. Circle it right in the center. And that center point that we're going from is lined up with the tops of these lines. So that should help us. So grab your circle tool. And it looks like that center point's already there. If not, you could line it up and find the center this way. Okay, this is 0.75. Enter. Okay, check mark. Tilt it. And extrude. Looks like we have 2 regions here. Okay, and they both get extruded 1.75. Okay, and you can turn off your front view. Okay, number 10 is done. All right, let's start problem number 11, 12, 13, and 14, and eventually on to 15. Notice 15 is called an assembly. An assembly is where you put several parts together. All right, we're going to have a base, we're going to have this post, we're going to have a couple of these collars showing right here, and there's going to be a snap ring or a lock ring that goes around the post. Okay, so we're going to draw all of these in one file. All right, I'm going to lead you through how to do that. So here we go. Okay, let's create a new document, and this time let's call it your last name, number 11 through 15. Okay, so just one file for the next 5 entries. All right, so back to our first part, which is 11. We're going to be drawing the base. The base is a rectangle, 3 by 3. It's got 4 countersunk holes. Countersunk means you've got this wide spot at the top for the head of the screw, and then a regular standard hole through the center. Okay, and we'll treat those separately. Okay, and there's a side view right here of it. Okay, we do not need our front or right side views. Let's sketch on the top view. Let's draw a rectangle starting at the origin. Pull that up. And let's make it, let's dimension it. 3 by 3. Okay, there we are. Finish your sketch. And let's extrude that. I believe that's 0.63 back here in the drawing.
Okay, finish that extrusion. All right, now we're going to put the holes in the base. Okay, so we're going to sketch on the top. All right, I'm going to do just the center hole this first time. So just do a regular center point circle. I find the exact center of the square. You hover over the edge right on the center of one side, pick one of the other sides, find the center, and when you come out here, that dashed line will reference those 2 points on the side and help you to find the center. So go ahead and click the true center now, draw a circle, and it looks like the center circle is a diameter 0.25. So I'll go ahead and dimension that. Finish that sketch. And you can extrude, remove, and make sure it's a through all. Okay, so that's the easy one we get done first. Okay, let's draw another sketch on that same plane separately from the first hole. All right, this time we're not going to draw circles. We're going to draw points. These points will eventually be the centers of the 4 circles, the countersink holes that are drilled. So make sure you line up these holes with each other. Again, I'm not dimensioning anything right now. Just taking good guesses, but it is important that you use these inferencing dash lines. Get everything lined up. Okay, then we'll dimension them. Okay, they're 0.63 from each edge. So go ahead and dimension, clicking on the edge, clicking on the point, set it down, 0.63. Notice the other points that are related, they get moved with it. Okay. So we're going to dimension just enough to get the job done. All right, it looks like we've done enough there. So go ahead and finish your sketch and switch back to a 3-dimensional view. And now we're going to actually draw the hole for real. Now that you're out of the sketch, you should see the 3-dimensional tools on the top of your screen. I'm looking for the hole tool. All right, I'm going to select all 4 of those points. All right, and if yours does not look like mine on the screen, go into yours probably says simple. Change that to be countersink, so it switches to that style of hole. And our dimension looks like it's 0.38 for all 4 of those holes. So type that right here for your diameter, 0.38, and you can leave the countersink diameter alone. 90 degrees is fine, and the depth. Let's go, I believe we got to go all the way through. Yep, those do not go all the way through at this point. So let's use a number large enough to make it all the way through, so about 1 inch. That should do it. And if you're not sure, you can change your view here and check your work. And then finish your sketch. Okay, and that's the end of part number 11. Okay, and that is shown down here in this tab in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. If you were to right-click on that, you should be able to rename it. And let's just call it 11. Right there. Okay, instead of starting a whole other new part, again, this is 11 through 15 we're doing. Let's right here insert a new tab. And we want to start a part studio. So create part studio right there, and you should see an additional tab show up. We're eventually going to get to the assembly tab down there once we've got 11 through 14 done. Okay, so this is number 12. If you want to rename that right now, you can. 12. Okay. Part number 12 is a square with a hole in it. So a 2 by 2 and with a centered 1-inch diameter hole. So go ahead and draw that. Let's use your top view again. Like always, be sure to draw from the origin. Two by 2. And let's also do the centered circle. So again, find the centers of the edge. Come on out and find the true center. And draw a 1-inch diameter hole. And you can extrude the outer region, but not the inner region. And it looks like 0.5 is your thickness. Okay, there it is. Part number 12 was already done. Let's add part number 13. So go down to the plus symbol in the lower left corner, create Part Studio, right click and rename that new tab 13. And let's do part 13. All right, this is another revolution like we did earlier in this assignment. Okay. We're going to draw half of this shape and we're going to revolve it around the center point. And it should look like this when you're done. All right. So I think I'll start in the bottom center of this drawing, work to the right, and work my way around, and we'll follow those numbers. All right, I think I'll start my sketch on the front view this time because the object is standing up. Okay, again, we're just roughly sketching our work here. Draw it plenty big. And we'll correct it with the dimension tool. So clearly this is not correct. Just a sketch. All right, now for dimensioning. All right, that bottom line is 0.13. I got 0.63 right here, followed by 0.38. One inch. All right, you can see that this kind of got goofed up right here. So let's correct this one. All right, let's add all of these up. So 0.63, 1.63 plus, so this is 5/8 plus another eighth would be 1 3/4. 2.25 is how tall that is. All right, 2.25. There we go. All right, we have 0.13 and 0.50. This is also 0.13. And 0.5. Oh, that's over dimension. I do not need that one. I suspect I don't need this one on top either. Let's check though. Oh, maybe I do. 5. Nope, I do not. All right, it says 0.51 up here, but that's just a rounding error. All right, we should be good to go. All right, so finish your sketch with the green check mark and choose Revolve. Choose the region by clicking in the middle of the shape. That was this first blue part. The red right here says select the axis. That is this line right here. Spins it around and hit the green check mark to finish. And there is your post. All right, let's do number 14. Insert a new tab. Create a part studio. This is number 14. All right, this is our lock ring or snap ring, it's called. All right, we're going to use the arc tool. 0.5 is the radius on the outside, inside is 0.38 with a 90-degree cutout, and the thickness is 0.13. All right, and this thing, we could have it stand up like this. I'm going to have it lay down flat, I think, because that's how it'll go in the assembly. So let's do it on the top view. So sketch on the top view. Use your arc tool. Let's see, let's do a center point arc. I believe that's right. So choose the center, the origin, pick straight below, there we go, and swing it around 270 degrees over to the left. All right, and do the same thing again, just a little less. And go ahead and close that off with the line tool on both ends. And let's dimension 0.5. And this one is 0.38. Okay, and finally, let's extrude it 0.13. And finish. All right, so we have our 4 parts done. Now it's time to assemble them together. So click on your assembly tab down here at the bottom. Okay, and we have to bring all 4 of those parts over here. And we're going to do that using the insert tool. Okay, you can notice these are all new buttons. This is only stuff found in the assembly. All right, part number 11, let's open that up. Stick one of those on your screen. 12, you're going to need 2 copies of that. 1 post and 1 ring. Okay, so we have our parts. All right, so now to assemble them or to put them together, all right, we're going to do some things up here called mates. All right, fasten mate is when you stick like 2 things together, like you glue them. Sliders is something you made it together, but it can slide. Revolve allows it to spin. All right, here we go. Let's assemble these together. All right, we're going to use fasten mate to grab the bottom of the post right there. And we don't want to stick it on the top of the hole. We want to get to the bottom of the hole. So you probably will need to rotate your view so you can see underneath and stick it right there. If it happens to flip upside down on you, like that. Be sure to flip the axis with this arrow until you get it right. And if you still can't get it right, undo it and try it again. You probably just selected the wrong points. But that's what it should look like. All right, so the post is inserted into the base. Let's fasten the collars. All right, again, take your time. Be sure you pick the bottom of the post right here. And if you get it wrong, flip it over with the arrow. Hit the check mark. And notice that fasten is still up here. So I'm just going to keep going. Fasten mate would be the full name. So we're mating these together. That's the name for all this. All right, so there we go. Just got to make sure I pick the right spot. And lastly, the snap ring. I'm going to pick the bottom edge right there and zoom in here and pick that bottom inside edge like so. All right, and there we are. Number 11 through 15 are done all in one file right there. Okay, let's do 16. All right, 16, we got a box with holes going in all 3 dimensions. All right, you could choose whichever side you really want to draw. It doesn't really matter to me which one. I think I'll just do the front view because I'm used to it, but any of them could work. So 3 by 1.75 and 0.38 is the space around it. So I think I'll use offset to save myself some time. So 3 by 1.75. So new document, 16. So hide your top and right views. Sketch on the front plane. Okay, always start at the origin. Okay, so 3 by 1.75, and find your offset tool. Right here, this double line right there is offset just to the right of the scissors, or the trim tool. And go ahead and offset 0.38 all the way around. And if it goes the wrong way, click on the arrow. Nope. 0.38. Oops, I did not mean to finish my sketch. If you ever do that, just double click on your history, look for sketch 1. There we go, so I reopened it. I meant to trim this, which I don't know if that's totally necessary or not, but I think I could extrude this without it. But just to clean up my work here, I'll trim. So you see that again, that was with the scissors trim right there. Okay, now I can finish. And I would like to extrude. And the distance there, it's probably 1.75. Yep, it is. Okay, now we just need to sketch those other holes on the other sides. So I'm going to do the top side next. Let's see if offset works here. Will let me offset the outer edge. It will. 0.38. It's a little obnoxious how many times we have to type that in. All right. So go ahead and extrude and remove, and be sure to select through all so it goes all the way through the bottom. There we go, and then you get both of them done all at the same time, the top and the bottom. Just like that, and now we just need to do the end of the box. And let's offset that. Still the same measurements, 0.38 inward. All right, and there is problem number 16 all finished up. There you go, turn off your final plane, and there it is. Okay, number 17. All right, so you can choose which way you want to do this. I always look for which side can I draw so I can just extrude the whole shape out. I think I'm going to draw the top view. I mean, I could do the right view. That'd be all right. They're both probably similar amounts of work. To me, it looks easier to do the top view, but you decide what you want to do. All right, so 1.75 by 2.9 down to here, and then we'll do an arc and a circle right there, and then we'll treat these two upper ribs up here, we'll treat those as separate sketches. 2.9 by 1.75. Go ahead and start a new part. Call it number 17. Okay, turn off the unnecessary views. And sketch whichever side you decided to do. And we said 1.75 by 2.9. Okay, I'm going to do a center point arc down here on the end and swing this around. Just like that, and we'll draw up a circle right on that center line, center point. And it looks like that needs to be 0.5 as the diameter. All right, 0.5, and it looks like that's it for now. So we will finish and extrude. Okay, be sure to select these two regions. And the thickness, does it tell us? It says right there, 0.5. All right, then later there'll be another 0.5 on the ribs. Okay, finish your sketch. Finish your extrusion, I mean, and let's do the remaining sketch on the top of this block. They look like they're a 1/2 inch wide and a 1/2 inch tall with 0.75 in between. So we're doing two rectangles here. Okay, so start in the upper corner, go to the opposite edge. Okay, I do need to dimension those, but make sure you're on the edge All right, and go ahead and extrude both of them at the same time and set them at 0.5. Okay, and 17 is done. All right, on to number 18. And we're getting to the end here. Okay, we have a lower base piece with a little triangular cutout, or not a triangle, but an angled cutout in this upper section here. So I think we'll start with the base, cut that out, and then go to the top after that. All right, so that base, I see 3.5 long, 1.5 wide. Do that on the top view. .5 by 1.5. Okay, it looks like it's a 0.5 extrusion. Okay, and then we'll cut out the end. Okay, let's sketch on the skinny end down here. All right, so just take a guess and draw those lines. All right, and then we'll add some dimensions in. Looks like it's a 1/2 inch on either side, 1/2 inch in the middle. It's 0.25 tall. All right, we'll figure that out. All right, so from here to here, 0.5. From the other corner to the end of that line, 0.5 as well. And from the bottom to here, is 0.25. Okay, and these seem a little messed up here. That's all right. Do some quick math. 1.5 minus 0.75 means these two sides add up to be another 0.75, and half of that is 0.375. So let's center that. So from here, from this end to that dot, 0.375. And from this line over here to here is also 0.375. All right, and that should look centered and pretty equal if everything's done well. Looks right to me. And go ahead and extrude, remove that through all. Okay, that looks good. All right, now let's add the upper part on. All right, we're just going to sketch this shape. It doesn't tell us how far in it is. We'll figure that out too. Like most things, it'll take a little bit of math, some adding and subtracting. It's no big deal. I see this section right here is probably 0.5 because it's 0.5 over here. And another 0.5 there. So there's 1.5. And these are 5/8 together, 5/8 individually together, they're 1.25. So add that all up and you get 2.75. 3.5 minus 2.75 is 0.75 between each of these, and 0.375 is what they each measure right there. Okay, we'll come back to that. All right, so if we're going to draw set into the object here, we've got to take 1.5 minus 0.75, and it looks like 0.375 is how far in this is. So what we're going to do to get that place in space to draw on up here, we're going to take this existing edge and we are going to create a surface, or a plane. Would you look for the plane tool right here? So again, we're not in a sketch yet. We're creating a plane to sketch on. So open up the pull down menu and find offset surface. Offset meaning we're going to set this over. Right now it's going the wrong way for me, so I'm going to hit the arrow and set it in. Okay, not 0.25, but 0.375. Okay, and unfortunately it's hiding inside of the object. We'll come back to that. Okay, I want to sketch on that. And it's probably hard to select it. It wants me to sketch a place to draw. So don't select anything yet. Okay, let's go down here. Let's hide part 1. That's the part we've drawn this far. So click on the eye. There it is. And now we can select that. And then you can re-show the object. We are drawing back here in space. All right, so now let's begin. All right, go ahead and just sketch an approximation of the shape that we're drawing. Get things lined up. All right, next up we're going to dimension some things. So from the end to that first point should be 0.375. Okay, we've got the two ends taken care of. All right, how tall is this thing? It doesn't say over here, but right here it says 1.5. All right, and it's 0.5 from left to right, and then 0.63. I'm clicking on the two endpoints and I'm dragging straight up 0.5. Again, over here, click on the endpoint, other endpoint, 0.5. Okay, these two inner platforms are 0.63. And let's see if we need to do the last one, 0.5. See if it lets us. And undo. Oh, good. Right there. Excuse me. All right, there's our shape. It's offset in. All you gotta do is extrude it. Switch directions. And how thick is this thing? It looks like over here, 0.75. That is your depth. And I'm going to hide that offset surface down here so we don't see that line. And I'm going to hide all my views as well. There's your part. That's number 18. Okay, the last one, number 19. Let's go ahead and get this done. Alright, I'm going to let you decide how you want to handle this. I can see a couple of different ways to do it. I don't know which one's best. They're both pretty good. I think I'll draw this lower chunk and then add the triangle on top later. And I'll draw it on the end right here. So I'm going to draw this shape from the front view. It's like it's an inch tall, 2 inches wide, with a 0.63 radius arc cut out. 2 wide, 1 inch tall. That sounds not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and sketch on the front view if you're following me. So 1 by 2. Okay, I'm going to use a center point arc, the center of the bottom edge, and our radius is 0.63. Okay, you can go ahead and finish the sketch and extrude it. And it looks like we need to extrude 3 inches. Okay, and finally your last sketch of the whole assignment here is drawing a triangle from the 2 front corners to the midpoint of the back edge up to the front and extruding that. Looks like we're extruding just another 1/2 inch here. And there it is. Turn off your different views, and you're done.